Follow your heart is like the most common advice for creatives. You've heard it before, I've heard it before, but it's pretty vague, and I actually think it's kind of misleading because one, like, what does that even mean? And two, how does that actually feel? Like when you're following your heart as a creative, what is that practically going to feel when you are in your creative hobby, using your unique God-given talents, whatever you do as a creative? We kind of want to figure that out. So let's talk about it. I believe the world views creativity and this kind of creative instinct as like a green light. Just go, just do, you have the ability. And even on this channel, I have made it one of my goals to encourage creatives who feel stuck in their creativity, or they don't feel like they are a creative, or they've lost that spark or whatever it is. And my encouragement for that person is to go, just do, just try. But for someone who is showing up in their creative gifts every single day or on a regular basis, you've experienced as a creative that showing up isn't just always this, all right, first step, next step, this go, go, go. It's not a green light. There are mixed feelings, mixed emotions. You might have excitement towards a project, but hesitation to the approach. You might be really enjoying your time creating, but you have this fear in the back of your head, like, what if it doesn't work out? And you're at the same time simultaneously trying to discern, okay, is this the right choice for this creative thing? Is this the outcome that I want? Is this the most true way that I could express myself creatively? I've found this for myself across all different types of creative expressions. I guess I feel it more in a creative expression that I'm new to. So like graphic design was something that I had never done until last year, and I had to start doing it regularly. And I was constantly questioning throughout the process, is this the right thing to do? Is this how this should look? Is this the correct way? And it usually comes out in little minor adjustments along the way. Another example is this YouTube channel. I was putting together a concept. I was feeling pretty passionate about the books that I had read over the last year. And I was like, well, I should do a kind of a generic post and do like a book review. I should list, here's the 10 books I read, and talk about each of them. And as I tried to figure out, like, well, what would I even say about this book? What would I say about this book? I realized the idea was not good. I had this reaction, this like, my heart was telling me, okay, you're excited and passionate about something specific, these books that you read, but the way that you're going about trying to create this video is not going to land. So I ended up talking instead about how I got to the place where I had read over 10 books in a year. Because there used to be a time as an adult where I didn't read a lot of books. And so I was like, oh, that's the hook. And I can list the books in there. And that's kind of a byproduct, like, here's the books I read. But the main focus, and I had to, kind of realign, okay, what's my heart telling me in this? Why doesn't this feel super authentic as far as like sharing content online? And I just had to find that realignment. So you probably have experienced that, where you're excited about an idea and it might come out in this way of like, okay, here's something I can create. Here's a way that I can show up creatively. But then there's something off. Your heart is telling you, I don't know if this is the right thing. You in that moment, you're wanting to trust your gut, but also being like, wait, but I want to create. I want to be in my God-given creative talents and gifts. And so that's the challenge that we can experience as creatives. Trusting our gut is important. Following our heart is important, but it's using wisdom that we've acquired over time and discernment in the moment to actually show up and make it happen. So instead of viewing these moments as like, was that a success or was that a failure? It's more like, okay, do I need to push through with this idea, or is this a moment to pause? It's not necessarily a moment to quit. It's not saying this idea is terrible, this is really bad. There are times for that. But it wasn't a moment of like, this idea is bad, I need to quit. It was an opportunity to slow down and pause and reflect and go, is this correct? Is this the right idea? And I think for creatives, that is really key when we say following our heart. That's what it looks like. It looks like slowing down. It looks like a realignment, a reimagination of something, not just a green light go, red light stop. It's much more instinctual and internal. As I was thinking about this idea of follow your heart as a creative and the ways that that can play out, the discernment that's required, I started thinking about verses in the Bible that kind of reminded me of like the cautiousness that we should have about our hearts. And it's interesting. So I'm going to pull out a couple verses. Bear with me as I kind of go through this. I think it's cool the way that the Bible is actually, it's a book of wisdom, and sometimes we might think that wisdom has to be one thing all the time, like something's true or false. The Bible often contradicts itself, and we go, well, how does that work? Well, it's because it's a book of wisdom, and so you glean this wisdom and use discernment of whether that's the right thing to be used. So when we look at Jeremiah 17:9, this is kind of sort of the famous verse you might think of about trusting your heart. It says, "The human heart is the most deceitful of all things and desperately wicked. Who really knows how bad is it?" So here we can see an example of going, wait, should you really trust your heart? Of course, that's when like wisdom comes in. Skill set. Do you have the skill set to do your creative work? Of course, we can think through that. And that's a moment where just fully trusting in your heart, oh, I can do that, oh, it's going to be okay, is obviously bad advice. Those are some of the warnings that the Bible has to say about following your heart. What about some of the affirmations that we can find? Let's look at two verses. The first one is Psalm 37:4. It says, "Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you your heart's desires." This idea that when we are following God, right, he's given us these unique talents and gifts. We're following him by being obedient and using those gifts. And we're showing up as creatives. There's going to be wisdom provided. Our hearts are going to be able to show up and be creative. We can follow those instincts in that moment. Okay, in a similar way, Romans 12:2 says this, "Don't copy the behavior and the customs of the world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way that you think." This idea that when we're showing up and offering God, like, hey, here's my gifts, here's all of me, here's everything I have to offer, he is going to change us and allow us to be more like him. It's a really cool thought, because that means that even our hearts, what was said earlier is, man, the heart is deceitful. Now God is transforming the heart and changing it to be more like him. And so when we show up in our creative gifts, we are able to trust that, hey, it's okay. I can be in this moment of, yeah, where's my heart leading me to create in this moment? Where's my heart guiding me as a creative right now? But then here's where the tension comes in. Two verses real quick. Colossians 3:15 at the beginning says, "And let the peace that comes from Christ rule in your hearts." And then in Psalm 139:23, it says, "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts." So there's an invitation here, not just blind trust, but to show up as a creative and offering that up to God and saying, okay, God, here are my gifts, and I'm going to trust you even with my heart, even with my questions along the way, the process along the way, trusting him with that and knowing that he's given us our hearts, he's given us our creativity that comes out from that and the instincts that we have. And so anyways, I hope those scriptures kind of help you see there's some tension there. There's some warnings, there's some affirmations, and then there's this tension even that we can find all within the Bible that kind of points to this idea that follow your heart is good advice when we can acknowledge, okay, that's a little bit strange. What does this look like for me? How can I make sure that I'm not just following my heart blindly, or that I'm not being too rigid and just going, nope, it's this, then this, then this. There's a balance here that we're looking for. Maybe in the creative process, if you're not fully aligned or this idea isn't the correct idea, maybe you're thinking more about how someone will receive it. Even in the creative process, discernment is okay, but if you're just thinking about the end goal, if you're just thinking about, well, how is someone going to react to the thing that I'm making right now? That might be a sign that you're not fully aligned. This isn't the best idea that you need to be pursuing. When you know it's fully aligned, man, you're going to feel pretty good about the idea. You're going to feel much more at peace. You're going to enjoy actually creating that thing. You're going to enjoy showing up as a creative and saying, yep, this is what I have to offer. There's an excitement. I know for me, that formation has been happening slowly over time, and God has been doing that work in me. So yeah, if you're feeling that tension, you're not alone. I want you to know that. I would love to know how this landed with you. Where does this sit with you in your creative journey? This is just where I'm at in mine. So thank you so much for watching this video, and stay creative.